I'd like to call the meeting back to order. We were previously in closed session. And sorry for the delay. It took just a little bit longer to wrap a few things up. And I would ask that we get started with the Pledge of Allegiance and stand if you're able and join, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So the early portion of tonight's meeting will be a community engagement session talking about our strategic plan 2025 to 2030. And Sean, did you have something prepared to start us with?
No, I think it probably makes sense to read the community engagement guidelines. You sort of paraphrase them. And then there's the timeline that was just on the screen a moment ago.
All right. And so our rules of the road here tonight for the community engagement portion of this is the Board of Education will discuss the 2025-2023 strategic plan. The Board of Education invites and encourages feedback from and discussion with the community regarding the strategic plan. No action will be taken by the Board of Education on this topic during this community engagement session. Community feedback on all other topics is reserved for community comments, which will occur during the regular board meeting.
So the only visual is the item, there it is, that you've seen before. The two gray boxes are stuff we've already done. And we're here tonight on the 19th. Tentatively scheduled our first strategic plan committee meeting for September 25th. The building principals and Brad are helping me get some names of folks that we could have join that committee. The invitation stands if anyone that's watching this or is in attendance wants to join us for that endeavor. We would be more than happy to have you. Where we go off script is surveys. We have to determine what we want to do there. I suppose I should get on mic. You can do two separate surveys, or you can do one survey that has both the community and the staff. That's to be determined. That's merely us telling school perceptions what it is we want them to do. So that could look different. A couple of other items there. We have focus groups on November 4th. That's an in-service day. So that's all staff broken up into about 30 groups of about 7-8 people. And then there's committee meetings that you'll see periodically over the course of the rest of this year into beginning of 2025. And then you would adopt, based on this timeline, the strategic plan in February of 2025. So that's my long-winded introduction via the timeline to what we're here talking about tonight.
The Board of Education met first on August, last Monday night. And I think that was the 12th, right? August 12th?
Yeah, 5th.
2 weeks ago, the 5th, goodness.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Thanks for pointing that out. The board was asked to come with things that they wanted to talk about as goals for the district for the coming few years. They all came well prepared for the questions that were put forth to them. And it was interesting enough that there's 5 people sitting in this room, and out of all of the questions that we were asked, a lot of us had the very same feelings and the recap of what we thought the priorities were for the district. And then at 7 o'clock, we had our administration join us, and they answered all of our questions that we had and kind of how things currently work and how things, they kind of attack things in their buildings and how we look at all of those things in a district-wide approach. It was a fantastic meeting, a lot of good conversation, and steering in the right direction, and can't wait for community feedback on that. So, did any of the rest of the board members have anything to add with that from Monday's meeting?
No, that sounds about right, so.
Yeah, I think there was high priorities given to CTE, the fantastic program that we have there, continuing on. We talked about climate and culture in our buildings and the big 3 initiatives and how those factor in, and our facilities, and continuing to maintain the wonderful progress that's been made and then how all of that just impacts student learning and the climate and culture of the district. So there was a large packet put together by the staff and the team, and we kind of just wanted to hone in on a lot of those things. That was a lot of great groundwork and make things priority instead of a lot of little things, just kind of package those things into big things. So I thought it was a great night. Administration, do you have anything to add to that evening? No, I must have summed it up okay. Do we have anybody here tonight that would like to speak to the strategic plan moving forward? I didn't see anybody signed up for community comments, but I was hoping maybe something else. No?
It's a very nice night out there today.
I know it is. It was really
It
hard.
is.
My lawn was calling my name, but here we
So what
are.
I will do is I will work with administrative team to firm up the September 25th date and get other folks that are not school people involved, because we want to hear from them too, and build an agenda for what that looks like on that night. We would meet for about an hour and a half, 6 to 7:30. This building or the middle school would be the preferred locations based on the mayhem that is the high school and the elementary school. Gonna make sure we're clear of that before we schedule meetings over there. Maybe we could even do it in this room, I don't know, and we'll proceed forward. The big conversation on September 25th, if not before, is we're gonna have to decide what we wanna do on surveys. So what I will do is I will get our options. What can we do and how much does it cost and what would that provide us in the end? Because we worked with school perceptions for the better part of 15 years, so they've got a lot of longitudinal data for us that we can compare to years past. So I will get that organized and provide that to you in advance of that meeting, so we can make educated decisions.
That'd be fantastic. I think we talked a little bit about that,
We did.
just kind of honing that in
Yes.
and giving our community the say and see
Yes,
where
we
they'd
did.
like to drive this, so that'd be fantastic.
Okay.
Well, because there's no other input at this time, and we probably covered everything we wanted to talk about at this point, unless, did anybody else have anything they wanted to say about that meeting?
Nope. Nothing here anyway.
Joe, anything? Steve? Good? Then I think we could just move ahead
We
into
can.
our regular scheduled board meeting.
Yes.
And so it looks like we're gonna start off with our spotlight on education, and it looks like Goose is up.
Maybe.
We're so excited. Yeah, well, Goose is laying down at the moment, but Goose is up. You have to hold him up for the camera.
Where's the camera?
Tracy, is it up there? Yeah.
Hey, everybody, this is Goose. He is about almost certified to be a therapy dog. He passed an AKC Good Citizen test so far. Currently has a vet appointment tomorrow. He has to get all of his stuff done at the vet tomorrow, and then he has some sessions coming up where I'm gonna take him to a senior home first, and then I think he maybe come here once. I did 4 visits with an observer to make sure that he passes his therapy dog test. So he's gonna be certified with Alliance Therapy Dogs, and they're partnered with the AKC, and they're one of the biggest and most reputable around. So this is Goose.
Goose, look at that. And he looks like he's been freshly groomed.
He was at the cabin all weekend, jumping in the water. So.
That would have been fun too.
He doesn't look a mess now.
And he's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, so he acts more like a Spaniel, kind of like a Springer Spaniel, but not as much energy as those.
And I'd say, Troy, you started this process last October, am I right? Is that kind of when the
Yeah.
conversation began?
I
And
think I started taking the training in like November, maybe December. So, yeah.
Are you excited to be bringing your best pal to school with
Yeah,
you?
hopefully it works out. I mean, I'm gonna start small. I mean, I realize that not everybody's a fan of dogs, and hopefully my goal is to get help some kids, and I think he would do that really well at that. So.
upon board approval, we have a letter drafted to go home in family folders the first week that explains that Goose is, that we have a board policy, that Goose is new to our building. We encourage any families or parents or guardians to reach out to us if they have concerns about allergies or anxiety, or if they have a fear of animals, anything like that. We want to be very cognizant of everyone's feelings. Like Troy just said, not everybody loves dogs, and so we'll be respectful. So at this point, we've talked about Goose starting a couple weeks in after our Fast Bridge assessments, and then we talked about 2 days a week at this point.
Yeah, I did meet a woman that's been running the therapy dog program at New Richmond Elementary School, and she was hired just to do that. So she visits the 4 elementary schools. She had lots of good advice on how to implement it and how to be safe and how it works and how it looks, so.
Goose's little face when you're like, not everybody likes dogs, he's like, what?
I don't know,
Like
but-
this?
How can you not
I
like
think
him?
most
Yeah.
people, I mean, I don't know, some people are cat people, I don't know, bird people, who knows? They're not animal people at all. So,
Yeah, Goose, I don't know, that face is pretty lovable, buddy.
So he loves kids, like he's had to learn to kind of control himself with kids at the senior home. He won't even, it'll be real easy because he won't see any kids there. So but he gets really excited when he sees kids, so he's worked on that.
Well, the good news is he's pretty tiny, so if he gets jumping, he probably won't knock anybody over,
If he jumps
so.
at anybody in the test, he immediately fails, so. That's like running into a cone and driver's ed, you just don't jump on it.
Did you fail for that? Fantastic. Any questions? for-
Just
Questions on
remind
it?
me again, how does the therapy dog thing work? Are you going to the classrooms, or are the kids coming down to see you? Or,
I think there's a variety of things I'm gonna try. I'll probably start out small. I'll probably have them in my room, and maybe as kids come to me, they'll see him. Like I also teach, so he'll be in my classroom and teaching, so I think they'll all see him that way.
sure,
The person I met in Richmond that had a good idea, the dog's for everybody. She likes to take her dog out to recess and just kind of stand there, and then the kids kind of circulate. She kind of has a rule, if there's 3, let them be. If there's too many people, then they kind of know to not to visit them, but there's a variety of different ways. A lot of research has shown that kids reading to dogs helps with their reading fluency, and just having them have a job of grooming them, or I'm not sure how it's all gonna work yet, but we're gonna start out small and maybe 1 to 2 days a week, and if it works really well, it might grow into something more, so that's kind of a little bit unknown, but
We delayed starting Goose right away too, because we want to be able to teach the students respect for Goose, right? To be able to be respectful of his space and his time. So we really want to front load what those expectations are, because a dog is very exciting, but we are here to learn, and how do we be respectful of Goose's space and
yeah, it'll
time
be real
too.
novel at the beginning. I'm sure the kids will be super crazy and excited, so after they all get used to him being here and settle down, it'll probably be easier for them, but.
Yes, could you imagine coupling the first day energy along
Oh
with
my.
a dog?
Oh, gosh,
We thought that might be too much.
That might be a little too much
for the
too much
adults.
for everybody.
for everybody. I love that every time he puts his hand in his pocket, Goose is
He
like,
knows, yeah.
he's right at attention, like, is there something coming out of that pocket for me? That it must be the treat pocket.
It is.
We have to get him some warrior wear. I heard Tracy ask, so.
Yes.
I got him a red bow, so.
Yeah, I saw the red black bow tie on him, that's very cute. Yes, definitely some warrior wear. Actually, years ago, there was the football program had sold some athletic football wear through their online, and I got my dog one with his own number on it, 31, because that was his birthday. So he was Buster 30, was a little football jersey that he wore, and I put him on
Cute.
every day on game day. So they're out there. I know they're out there. We're
I do
gonna.
want to give him a badge that says therapy dog with his picture on it, our staff guy.
He could be included in like the staff website
Yeah,
and the
staff
yearbook.
photo.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
when they come to do the pictures,
Wow.
that'd be fantastic. Love it. Love it. Well, thanks for bringing Goose. That was
Thanks,
awesome.
Troy.
Thanks that we could meet
I
him.
appreciate the support.
You bet.
I'm excited to go well.
I think so. I think the kids are gonna be super happy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Goose.
All right. Thank you. Bye, Goose.
Treats.
Bye, Goose. Thanks for bringing him in. He's like, yep, my nose is down. I'm going. All right, moving along to our consent agenda items. Joe, you had those tonight.
I had the consent agenda and ask, motion for you to approve them, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
Gwen? It's been moved and seconded to accept the consent agenda items. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All of those in favor of approving the consent agenda items, please signify by saying aye. All of those opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passed. The consent agenda items are approved. On to the administrator reports.
All right, at the high school, we have hit the finishing stages hopefully, on the remodel.
Does that mean you have electricity?
They turned on lights in the commons today when it was like the lighting of the family Christmas tree. It was beautiful.
Like the Griswolds?
Yeah, that was it. It really, like, even our office lit up when the lights came on. We
That's
all
awesome.
clapped. We've got the Miss Amery Talent Show coming up on Saturday. Our good friends at the middle school have agreed to host this year. We had a electrical problem on the stage, in the auditorium, that wasn't going to be remedied in time, so, but thankfully at the middle school, they're helping us out. Lots of sporting events are firing up. It's been a little bit, we've got kids working primarily out of the middle school. Thank you, Thomas. And, but keep an eye on the calendar for all the updates. We're having to shift a couple of games and locations, so follow the school app. And then freshman orientation coming up on Thursday, August 29th.
Speaking of the school app and the calendar, Tracy, that looks great. That's new, right? Oh, she can't hear me. Yes, did you do something different with the calendar on there?
No, they redid, the app company sort of rebuilt the format of the app.
Oh, I kind of like the new format, so go ahead, check out the
Okay.
school app, everybody.
I didn't do it, but yes, it is a new
So,
look.
Tracy, just take the credit for it and say, yeah, great.
Yeah, I do all that.
Ready? Okay, at the middle school, our big event is coming up here a week from tomorrow. On Tuesday, the 27th, is sixth grade orientation from 4:30 to 6. So all the new sixth graders come over and try out their lockers and meet all their teachers and get used to the schedule. And that's, every time they change a building, it's a pretty big transition for every kid. And so I know there's tension there and stress every year, and we will do our best to try and make sure that every student's feeling welcomed and ready to go. And then we also have 7th and 8th grade open house, which is an opportunity for those students to come in and meet their teachers and try out things as well. So that is coming up here a week from tomorrow on the 27th. And speaking of that, we're heading back here. We have all the new staff, brand new staff coming in for an orientation a week from today. And then, of course, the rest of the staff is back for in-service starting on the 27th. Once we start school, the first day of school is September 3rd. We have a lot of different meetings planned already. We're kicking off our, one of the big three, the PBIS, and just making sure that we have all our ducks in a row on exactly the trainings that we're having for kids on what's expected wise, behavior wise. September 5th is picture day at the middle school, and I believe information went out to all parents, and so they should be looking into that back to school packet and making sure that they're prepared for picture day coming up. We have like I said, a lot of committees meeting. We have a data committee that's meeting to take a look at how we're going to be setting goals for the coming year. We kind of pushed that off. It was supposed to have happened last year where we reset middle school goals, and we decided to hold off until the strategic plan was further along because we felt that that was the driving mission and we would build off of that. And so we'll be working and getting prepared to kind of have our committee and our school talk about where we see things are going and how we're going to get more involved, and then use that to drive our goals in our building. Every year, all the new teachers, in addition to their orientation coming up a week from today, they go through essentials classes. They're all taught by the administrators and different teachers that we bring in. And our first one is coming up on September 9th as we kind of go through, and that's held right after school, and we have different themes to talk about, everything from how to handle and de-escalate conflicts in class to how to use data to drive your instruction, how does the curriculum work. We even get into how does your WRS and state retirement work, because they don't really talk about that in school.
Yeah.
So we just start that discussion with them. Every 2 weeks, we have a curriculum group that meets for a head-on, deep dive PLC meeting where I free up some time so that all the teachers, like all the math teachers in the building, can meet at once. And we usually do it right at the end of the day at that study hall time. And then so people are kind of moving kids around so that we can have some meetings and start a little bit earlier. So our math PLC will be meeting on the 11th, as well as our district technology committee meeting. We have a school safety committee meeting as we want to make sure that we have, our crisis plan is updated and ready to go, but we're going to continue to talk about how to make that a better living document for kids, and concentrate a lot onto the proactive pieces of making sure that we're keeping our eyes and ears open and making sure kids are feeling supported. And then we have Fall Festival, and the big Fall Festival Parade is September 14th, and that's a pretty exciting time for all the kids in band, for sure, and every kid in school. Yeah, we have the energy at the school on that day doesn't rival Halloween in your buildings, but it's pretty high at the middle school. So that's what we have coming up.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Good things.
All right, good evening. Summer school came to an end last Friday, so the intermediate school has been the host of all summer school and all clubhouse. Summer school has gone very well. Most of our
And the middle school.
classrooms, and the middle school, most of our classrooms have actually been full. It's really nice to hear laughter and footsteps in the building. I prefer it busy versus quiet. And I really want to thank Laura Sjogren, does a nice job running our district summer school. Thank you to our custodians that have stepped up at the middle and the intermediate school. That's a big task to take on, as well as all the summer school teachers. That's a big task that goes above and beyond what they do, as well as our paraeducators. So I really want to thank them and Laura for all of that time and efforts that they put in. Clubhouse was here all summer. Their time is winding down here as well, and it's been very nice to actually host them. It's, again, nice to hear some giggles, and every once in a while we hear a little bit of cries, but it's been pretty quiet for the most part down the hall. Summer curriculum work, so as I shared over the past couple of months, we have a large group of educators completing top 10 tools, so a lot of those people are finishing over the summer, myself included, and that meets one of our Act 20 requirements. And then FastBridge, as Tom was talking about new teachers, FastBridge is our assessment tool that we run 3 times a year. And so all new staff over the past couple of weeks have been getting trained in FastBridge. So there's certain modules that they have to complete to be able to assess our students. So that's been something that new staff have been doing. And then to piggyback a little bit off of what Tom said, he shared with you about our new teacher classes. And in addition to that, we have a really strong mentor-mentee program. So all of our new teachers are paired with a veteran teacher here in the school district, and they have a set number of hours that they get compensated for, and they come in and they look at curriculum as well, maybe as, some of the nuts and bolts of what we do. They look into our PLCs, into our standards, and they spend a lot of time getting familiar with our resources and expectations and standards before the school year kicks off. Upcoming events here, our biggest is August 28th, so next Wednesday we have our open house from 4:30 to 6 p.m. and hopefully, and usually we get a really good turnout for that. And then as Tom already shared, September 3rd, we are ready to go.
It's getting real.
Here we go.
Yes. Hello. So we have a lot of summer work going on, and I just want to say thank you to the special education team in my building. They've just been doing a lot of work, just trying to be proactive side, making student plans, all of that. They've just been doing a lot of work, and I just really very much appreciate everything they've done. We also, again, like the others, have some other teamwork going on, some TSS and PBIS committee work, and again, my building is also doing the TSS online training, as well as top 10 tools. So they've got a lot of stuff to do at home and also coming in here and working. So they've been doing a lot, and it's greatly appreciated. Some of the other things that have been going on, obviously, is construction. So again, school custodians, wow, that's all I can say. They have just been working really hard, and I just don't know how to thank them enough for all that they've been doing all summer long. They've really been transforming that building in a fantastic way. So right alongside of construction workers and working around them. So just kudos to them for everything they're doing. So that's really, referendum is all, it's big time happening in our building. So upcoming events for me, 4K Montessori Parent-Teacher Conferences on the 26th, and they do that along with the traditional 4K. They're not doing theirs till September 3rd and 4th, but and that's different because they have to welcome back their kindergartners before their 4Kers, so they need to get that out of the way. But they do parent-teacher conferences right out of the gate so that all parents understand, what the program looks like, what's the expectations, and they gather their school supplies and all of that. So it's just a really nice first time to school connection for them. And then our first day of school, of course, is coming up on September 3rd, and our LPO is having their ice cream social on September 9th to drum up some new business and get some new people into the committee. So they're doing a fantastic job there, working hard as well, and yeah, in our open house as well, August 28th. So It's exciting stuff coming up.
Who doesn't like ice cream?
Right?
Yep.
Come on over.
Come on over.
Good evening. Periodically like to give a mental health collaborative update, and this year completed our first year of direct services for kids in the school-based setting at the high school. We partnered with Thrive Counseling to provide a caseload of students that a counselor is doing some direct virtual counseling with, and also we did the planning process to onboard another provider, Peachtree, as a potential provider. The advantage of onboarding multiple agencies is the insurance and billing process is significantly different between what sorts of healthcare coverage that parents are entering the door with, and they don't always cover direct therapy in the same way or duration and those sorts of things. So by varying our providers, we also vary and increase our ability to serve kids and have more resources for them to access counseling in the schools. A key part of this process is equitable access. So when it comes down to using grant funds in order to sponsor this counseling, we do have conversations that include the outside agency that helps manage some of our funding, St. Croix Valley Foundation, which is great because it really is a shared decision-making process. Then it's not the school district of Amery making a single determination. It's a group of individuals in a community. So I think that's a really wise thing to do. There also happens to be ways that we can continue to fundraise and then save that money and grow it through the St. Croix Valley Foundation. So I'd like to thank everybody at the high school. A lot of things that are going on there, sharing both the big task and the small task. Katie Johnson did a lot of the community outreach in order to raise this money and really start in particular the resource management of this program. And I think we've done really well in the fact that oftentimes we might start down a road going too fast, and your business processes and your organization sometimes encounters unexpected hurdles that first time. So by going slow, starting small, it actually allows you to go further in the end and do so in a sustainable way. And I think that's a real positive that's happened with this program thus far. Next, related service providers. As you may know, we contract occupational therapy services through Cumberland Healthcare. Over the past about 7 years, we've seen about 3 different codas come and go, which are certified occupational therapy assistants. So in light of some of that turnover, one of the things that I came to the business office and put in Dr. Derfler, just could we make this really under the umbrella of the school district of Amery and bring this CODA position on? And we had nice conversations and really discussed the pros and cons, and have decided that that is the way that we're going to proceed in having the CODA under the support staff umbrella. And our hope is that that's going to really help to create a position that's long-term and really to allow us more opportunity to build that employee up as somebody who knows the school district and the staff throughout a period of years, can do some increased training and just have a stronger future. And then finally, Suicide Awareness Walk. This is a community foundation out of Balsam. This is the Polk County. The Polk County Services doing this walk in Balsam Lake, and it's at September 21st at 8 a.m. One of the great things about the Suicide Awareness Walk is that the registration fees for people who sign up, they actually are going to come back to whatever school district that person decides to donate them to. So this is a big opportunity for anyone who registers in the community here in Amery to walk through that registration process and say, you know what, I want my registration fees to go back to supporting the Mental Health Collaborative and the work that the School District of Amery is doing to support mental health in schools. So you can find that through social media and Facebook and all that. So I hope a lot of people show up and are donating to our school district.
I have one item.
I received a couple of inquiries in regards to the memorial bench, which was located behind the high school in memory of 5 former students who had passed in various circumstances. And the inquiries asking where is the bench and what's going to happen with it next. The bench has been moved from that location for obvious reasons due to construction, put behind lock and key, kept safely. And when the dust finally settles, literally, we will then put our heads together and determine a new best location for said bench. It hasn't been thrown away. That was the words that were used to me on the phone. That has not occurred. It is safe and sound, waiting till things are done. So just wanted to make sure folks knew that.
Thanks for clarifying that. We've
You
had
are welcome.
Several inquiries as board members as well, so if that's important information to have out there, that we'll continue those. That was some of the discussion that was centered around our initiative for the 2025 plan is part of those facilities and how we move forward and the best way to make our campus look good and still maintain all the integrity of all of those things that have been here for a long time, so. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
All right, and then it looks like, Brad, you're back up again with the 2023-2024 seclusion and physical restraint report.
All right, well, bear with me, this is something you hear every year, so it might feel repetitive, but this is Wisconsin Act 125 requirement. This has been in legislation for about 12 years here. So Act 125 applies to both special education and regular education students, and it's around practices and reporting requirements around seclusion and restraint. It also applies to all school district staff, independent contractors, and law enforcement. Though law enforcement is under a different umbrella of protection, we're still charged with reporting that as a seclusion or restraint if that occurs in the schools. Some definitions for you here next. Physical restraint is a restriction that immobilizes or reduces the ability of a student to freely move his or her torso, arms, legs, or head. In seclusion, the involuntary confinement of a student apart from other students in a room or area from which the student is physically prevented from moving. So the only time, in terms of our guidance, the use of physical restraint seclusion is warranted is when a student's behavior presents a clear, present, and imminent risk to the physical safety of the student or to others. So that real word of imminent, that's the one we're looking at. Something is very likely to happen if we don't, intervene, and we want to prevent that risk from happening, and so that's why we're intervening. Reporting requirements, we're here doing that now, so each year prior to the start of this new school year, a designee must submit to the school board the number of incidents of seclusion and physical restraint in the previous year, total number of students involved in the incidents, and total number of students with disabilities involved in the incidents. Some of the purpose of the reporting requirements, to evaluate the effectiveness of our behavioral interventions used within the district. If we're seeing high numbers, we want to, of course, look to decrease those. Ensure sustained training and use of nonviolent crisis prevention intervention, which is something we'll talk about a little bit more, but is well in use here in the school district of Amery. And to inform evaluation and discussion of district-wide training needs. Next, you'll see the numbers here from 23-24. Remembering this is from late August, the start of school, until early June of this year. We have 7 incidents of seclusion, 9 incidents of restraint. Total number of students involved, 8, and total number of students with disabilities is 5. I think one comment on the numbers, because sometimes people want to look in, high, low, what do the numbers mean? I think a very important thing about the numbers are, if our sole focus was 0, and that's where you wanted to get to, we could get to 0. But that would also probably mean that we're not intervening, and we're not, really adhering to a safe environment and carrying out what are things that need to happen so that students aren't at risk and so that everyone is safe. So You know, sometimes we focus on that number and say, well, we will not be satisfied until we're zero. Well, we want to intercede where we need to intercede to make sure that everyone is safe in the school district, students, staff, other community members. As far as training requirements, and that what really guides us whether to intervene or not, we teach this, and we've already had one course this year. We'll have 2 more yet that you see on the following pages. Methods of preventing the needs for physical restraint. We talk about identification and description of dangerous behavior and the need for physical restraint. Evaluating harm, the risk to self or others. Experience in administering and receiving different types of physical restraint, including methods that are not used, should not be used. For example, prone restraints. And then instruction, documenting and reporting all the incidents of physical restraint and seclusion. And as I mentioned, explanation of other prohibited maneuvers or holds. That's done through what is a nationally sponsored and used curriculum. It's nonviolent crisis intervention. They have certified instructors. Our certified instructor, one of those, Chuck Wellman, you go up for a series, I think, of 2-3 days to become a certified instructor, and then you've got to focus on prevention and de-escalation, decision-making and responsive behaviors, managing risk, and disengagement and holding skills. As I said a moment ago, you can see one of our trainings that already has occurred on August 7th here, and then we've got a few upcoming this week. Recertification and full training on the 21st, and then on Thursday we've got another recert training, mainly for those staff who've already been through training that we just want to keep up to the latest information from the Crisis Prevention Institute on how to lessen the need for restraint seclusions. So the reporting requirements we talk about, I do kind of a little 10-point PowerPoint on instruction and reporting. We use our GO idea, which is the same system that we use for IEPs and 504s. And then we update the training when there are any new regulations that came about. The last time it was in 2023. There was a little bit of update on Act 125 reporting. So finally, really why we do this in terms of the training to promote staff knowledge and evaluating the function of behavior, to focus on relationships, recognizing power struggles, knowing when to walk away, school parent engagement strategies to teach self-regulation. Sometimes that's helpful because what's out there in the community doesn't always match the methods we're using in schools. Remembering our trauma-sensitive schools initiative, and you've heard a lot about that even just tonight, and of course our school-based mental health services and partnerships, and using what knowledge is there as well to reduce the use of physical restraint in the school district. Finally, there's as much reading as you would ever want to do on this topic. There's just 3 places that you can go for more information, including the USDOE, DPI, and our own board policies.
Any questions for Brad?
I'm just curious, do all teachers go through the training in all schools, at all school levels, and paras?
It's not all school staff. Most paras have, and we've actually had a recent discussion on all new staff potentially going through this training, their initial onboarding year in the school district of Amery. So it's a half yes and half no, but any new special education staff member is onboarded and does that CPI training. All of our special ed paras do it. A number of our, I don't want to say all, but a lot of our general ed paras have gone through this training at least once. And then we also have building level crisis team members. Most of the PBIS team members too, I feel pretty confident of having at least gone through this training once. And then we keep a spreadsheet of those. It's roughly between 50 and 75 participants each year, and we kind of rotate through new members because we never know when, after all, where or when these are going to occur. maybe not just in a special education classroom, of course, it could be anywhere, on the playground, during PE. So we want to have a variety of people trained.
Do you see them across all different ages, or is it more
In-
focused on a?
In line with the state and national data, we're right in there with, the younger the student is, it tends to be elementary schools that you see the greatest number of exclusion restraints.
So I appreciate the comment about, shooting for zero and probably not being effective in what you're trying to accomplish, right? Because you want to be safe, I get that. At what point do you cross a level, though, where you're on the other end of that, where it's too much?
Yeah, well, and I think that's why we train, that's why we look at our numbers year to year. If we were to see year to year, and we've had some, in my time here, we've had numbers that are higher than I would like them to be. If those numbers were higher over a period of, a pattern, which to me is 3 data points, that's certainly a valid conversation to start with all levels of district team and leadership. And so I think, we've been through a couple of those years of high years, and we're now in a trough, and I think that's a good thing and something to be thankful for. But it's a hard one to answer.
Yeah, no, I guess the point would be that, and you answered it, that you're looking for that trend, and then you're trying to tackle that trend, and if it means more meetings or more training or whatever else, you jump on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But sometimes you can have one kid that can raise those levels,
Right.
those incidences that, and sometimes it's the learning curve of coming to school and the adjustment and we've kind of talked about this before in a lot of other meetings, but, as a parent, as a board member, as somebody, I would rather have somebody write up 25 times that they've had to grab a kid from running out the door and into the street. And if it means keeping somebody safe from being hit by a car or putting themselves in grave danger, I would rather see 25 reports written than to have to deal with something like a tragedy like that. So it's mindful, and it's always good. The numbers just don't always tell the whole story.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Joe, you had it?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think it's based off of the behavior of the children. I don't know a teacher working in the school who wants to grab a kid.
Right.
So, I understand how the numbers are difficult, but I'm just saying, there might be a year in the future where there's a lot of unruly or just maybe behavioral issued children, and that, again, for safety and other students' safety, that this has to occur. And again, I think I was just gonna say, I think that's a difficult number to, because again, I've seen teachers in the high school, maybe break up fights, and get struck, but I don't even know if that's a form of restraint.
You can't tell the story here, Josh.
But
Yeah.
Josh broke up a fight once and he lost.
What kind of report do we file for that?
No report.
Yeah.
You just need to watch the video.
Was it like year one as high school?
That was a long time ago.
You weren't even a principal yet. Yeah. Yeah, great conversation. Obviously need to, keep an eye on it. Obviously, that's always looking for trends, but those are the things that sometimes it's just, like Joe said, difficult situations, and they call for difficult measures, and we're gonna do what we're gonna do to keep our kids safe, so it's fantastic. All right, moving on to informational items. Referendum, building and grounds update from our building and grounds committee, Joe and Steve. You guys have been doing the tours and
Yeah, we walked through the high school, parts of the high school the other day, and we had to use our cell phones because there wasn't any electricity.
no lights.
No lights. So, and I was frustrated because I was really looking forward to seeing the science area, and we didn't get to walk through there. So I'm curious, what shape is that in?
Well, I'm glad you didn't get to see it, because the next time you see it, you're going to be like, wow, this is great.
Good?
I'm glad you didn't get to see
We're in
it.
good. We're in good shape. It's going to be ready to roll.
Good shape. Then we walked out on the football field and took a gauge at the new turf, and I'm excited to see the guys play on there this Friday. So Amery show up on Friday, And we toured the elementary school, and I'm still dumbfounded at the amount of work that's left to do, but how much is, also dumbfounded by how much has been accomplished since the last time we were there. And I probably had the same thought that a number of folks have had of how are they gonna knock this thing out before the beginning of school, but it'll all get done.
The look on Paul's face right now is
Yeah.
like, do not ask that.
I know it'll all get done. I have had, I've had some people ask me about the elementary school and where things are at, and more importantly, where are we entering? How are we getting in, right? And I know that information has gone out there. And then that night, talking to Sean made a comment about traffic flow. Like, if the parents are thinking ahead, their traffic flow should go this way. And so I wrote a note down to ask, are we doing anything to reach out to the parents to say, here's where you go, and here's the ideal pattern of pickup and drop off for a number of kids in multiple buildings?
So in our welcome back to school letter, yes, we draw a map and we describe it out, and what my direction has been is to come in that east driveway, drive all the way around, drop off the drop-off door, and then turn right to get out of the school campus. So my hope is that if they don't need to drop off an elementary school students, that they'll just go out towards the bus garage. But yes, we did put that map out there and give directions, and
Good.
it's
Is that-
always gonna take a little bit to see how it looks, but we have open house, and that always helps.
Sure. We're gonna have that information on the
Website?
website too? Ideal traffic flow, or?
Yeah, we can, but I mean, Paul's already sent it to the parents. Yeah,
I-
we can
but-
add whatever we need to add, I hope.
I think that's a great point, because we do have people coming in that aren't just parents, or maybe their grandparents are bringing kids the first day, and maybe that wasn't shared or something. I think
Correct.
community access, and if we could put it on our website, and then we can share it on our Amery word of mouth pages, it seems like those are big ways to get that information out there. If we could
Yeah.
do that,
And
Tracy's
4K
our
Montessori
gal,
will
but
put that out there
Yeah.
during their parent-teacher conferences as well. And
Yep.
we always let them come in a little bit later, those first couple of days, because they always want to walk their kids in too. So we let that, everything, the hustle and bustle get out of the way, and then they come in.
Well, and
So that
then
helps
with
too.
talking with George, he mentioned, as you approach the doors of the elementary school, you're gonna have to buzz in
Correct.
depending on which direction you're going, and it's not the same buzzer.
It's not.
So-
It's not, however, you could, you know, you can only go into Clubhouse or
Yep.
come directly into the office, so you're not gonna get, you know,
It's
somewhere
gonna
where
be a learning
anyone's not gonna
curve.
help you.
Yeah, it'll be a learning
Yes.
curve, and I think what, the conversations I've had with some of the folks in the public is, everybody is used to, if anybody's been around since 1967, right? That was the year they built that building?
Some that are gonna come to the back
The
door.
Yes.
front door, the
That
front
is the
door
year.
is now at the back.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
so
Yes.
there's an awful lot of people that I believe still think the front door is in the front.
Correct.
And so, just to make sure
Yes, to
that,
do another bright
So we
arrow.
we sought,
They're
we
going.
sought to separate hazards, so when you
Yes.
drop off and you pick up, your buses are in front, your school staff is largely in the north lot, and your parents are in that new drop-off pickup place.
And on that map, it says all of that, like staff parking only, bus drop-off only, it does say that all on that map.
If
but-
you simply have an elementary school student, you should be in and out, you will have no problem. You simply need to remember to enter in the right spot to enter it, but it'll be implicit, because everyone will be coming out the other one. So you're gonna go in, do the semicircle, turn right to head back to Minneapolis, and turn right and you're gone.
Yeah.
If you have an intermediate or middle school kid, drop there first.
Yes.
Because if you go into the elementary parking lot and then hope to turn left, then you're gonna create a bottleneck, because people behind you are gonna wait for you to turn left. Drop middle and intermediate first, then elementary, then be gone. And if you can leave via the bus garage, leave via the bus garage.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, it's gonna take a little bit of
Yep,
time to
it'll
get
take some
used to
time.
it, but yeah, but no, doing another bright arrow before school is a great idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jody, anything to add?
Just I questioned our budget. Sean, do you want to just give a brief?
I think John would be a better guy for that one, he's got it on the screen there for you,
John?
or Becky does.
Did you have a specific question that I can
Yeah,
speak
the
to?
fact that we're under budget.
Yeah.
How about
That's
that?
very
Yeah.
specific.
The gap is
it's
closing.
pretty specific.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, actually, if you go to the second page. The gap is closing, the gap is starting to close.
And where I would illustrate that, if you want to scroll all the way to the bottom, Becky, the column on the left is, or the column on the far left, the 2.3, that is the kind of our responsibility stuff. The column on the right is the change order. So the difference between the two, that's how much we're actually under budget right now. So if you look, we're just about 400,000 under budget. But as these projects continue to wrap up and these change orders comes in, we're starting to see that amount start to close. There is still plenty of wiggle room, and the mysteries have been solved as far as we know to date, but there could always be, you know, I swear every week another asbestos thing is popping hot. And then our asbestos budget keeps going up, and it's weird, caulking around a door. I mean, it's bizarre where all that stuff was. But luckily, George is handling that stuff.
But we also have interest dollars still, correct?
Correct. Yep,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, really, on top of the 400,000, the wiggle room is that because of the referendum and the 43.5, the school district earned, what was it, 2.3?
Yeah, 2.4 as of yesterday.
$2.4 million dollars in
Yep.
interest.
Correct.
I'm the one always complaining about how we're spending our money. What are we doing with it? Can it be invested?
Well, it has to be the for the purpose of question, so whatever you're gonna do with it has to be for the purpose of, and building and grounds is part of that. Where you're doing referendum work and where you're doing athletics work is building and grounds. But I know you were about to say
and-
something.
Yeah, and I think what you're asking is, because I'm in the same camp with you, I'd love to be able to take every penny of that and go straight back into just investing that in a revolving door. Unfortunately, when the project is done, all those funds have to be expended one way or the other. And so that's kind of where the investment loophole that all school districts use, that's where they close it up, is on that one. The hard part with all municipally funded borrows that lead to investing is you hit an arbitrage percentage, and we're gonna hit that arbitrage percentage prior to the project completion. So every dollar that goes in after that, which is about 2.5 million is what our arbitrage number is, every dollar that we earn in interest, which it will happen, goes straight back to the government every single time. So it's kind of a frustration point for business managers in general, is that investment question, because we had the opportunity for years upon years upon years where you would take your line of credit and you would fully withdraw that in September or October. And by the time you pay that off, you've paid off the interest paid by the interest earned.
Yep.
So it was basically a free borrow of money, and they took that away from us. The federal government did in that case. So now we can't arbitrage at all anymore on anything line of credit related. So anyways, but the point being, right now it's just kind of sitting there to be used at whatever the board decides for the most part, right? I think is a fair way of saying that.
It's mostly spoken for, though, with
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
sports updates and stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
Update in regards to athletics, I talked to Jeff Fern, athletic director, about an hour before this meeting, and Josh chimed in where I might have information incorrect. Scoreboard folks are going to be here tomorrow. The scoreboard is wireless, so it's not a matter of hooking it up, it's a matter of firing it up and making sure we're speaking to it, so to speak, so you can do your down and distance and time and so forth. The bleacher move is going to be done on 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. You have to do, it's 2 pieces, so you move it across the road in 2 pieces. And then there'll be some final hookups that'll occur late Thursday and then Friday morning, but they will be ready for spectators on Friday evening.
It's cutting her just a
It
little
is,
close.
it is. The lights are all ready to be turned on. Hunt Electric has got that situated, and it sounds like they're going to be turned on Wednesday. So I've said repeatedly, we need 5 things for a game on Friday. We need a field, check. We need 2 teams. We got 2 teams. We had lights on the way. We've got a scoreboard. That'll be fired up here soon. And then we'll need some bathrooms. The bathrooms will not be ready for Friday, so there'll be porta potties on Friday for that, and that's on its way as well.
So just so we're clear, right, we
We're
are
playing-
fully intending
we are
to host
playing
a football game here
Friday night.
Okay.
He's so nervous.
Well, I mean, I've been asked a lot
Friday night.
myself, and I've questioned it myself. It just, there's a few things to wrap up, but
There is.
Are you
It won't be
up for Friday
fully
night?
complete by any means.
I am not.
You're not reffing Friday night. We need some
Not as of
referees
yet.
too, I'm assuming. Does Jeff have that handle?
Josh
Did
has
I
that
miss
covered,
anything,
yes.
Josh?
No, they spent a lot of time doing grading work out there today, so I think the road is probably getting paved tomorrow.
Yep.
Would be my guess behind
That's what I understand.
their, it's gonna look a lot different Fall Festival Friday than it's going to look
Right.
this
There
Friday.
are a couple of other items that are not yet complete.
I'm hopeful we can get the sound system hooked up at the same time as the
Yep.
scoreboard, because it's a very impressive sound system.
We don't have visiting team bleachers. Those were on back order. They'll be here sometime late September. That's just reality. Bathrooms aren't complete. That's not a small project, but both ticket booths will be ready to go. You have a path to get there, whether you're coming in visitor side or coming in on home side.
The surrounding, I'll call it the security fence for the
Yep.
whole system, is not gonna be totally complete before then. Also, because everything is weather dependent on this, we're pretty sure that next week on Monday, we'll have to shut it down for 2 weeks so they can finish the track and do the rubberizing. So we get to have a small little taste of the facility, and then they've pretty much said, you gotta leave us alone for 2 weeks to do this.
The rubberizing is very temperature dependent. If you don't do it at the right temperature, it will not cure correctly, and then you'll have a very shoddy operation. We've already experienced that. So that's why they're telling us this is the day and you need to stay away. It takes about 2 weeks for it to cure and be done. So we will not be able to play soccer there until after that 2 weeks. That's just the price of
Soccer
doing
will play
business.
on the current existing game field, they're aware of that, and we've had to move some lower level football games. Clear Lake's allowing us to play there for a game, we're going to Osceola to play a game, and so our neighbors have been very gracious.
I've been saying all along, short-term pain for long-term gain. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and if we miss a couple of ball games, I think we're still gonna be in really good shape.
Well, this is how you hook people, you know, you get them a little taste on Friday, and everything's
Maybe.
not finished, so you gotta keep coming back all season long, so you can keep seeing all the changes that happen, right? That's how
Maybe so.
you get people hooked.
I can tell you that at every building and grounds meeting, I keep saying, have they turned the lights on yet? No, not yet, so.
I'll call you when we got them on
Yeah,
Wednesday.
I'm excited.
You can come and look at them.
I know Josh and I were on the field last Monday, and I think I can speak for Josh, it's beautiful, right? I mean, it's,
Beautiful, comfortable.
yeah. It
Da-
is.
Dale and I worked on a different field this past Friday that was not nearly as comfortable.
Yeah.
And I was ear to ear grin when we were out there with the boys last week. It was pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
it's-
And Dale
it's
had a
gonna be
really
great.
big grin too.
Yeah, it's gonna be very nice.
Have they practiced out there yet?
I think the football boys have had about 2 practices out there, and I think the soccer boys are gonna try to get out there. We've tried to be really respectful of when they have any work whatsoever. So it almost has to be like after 7 o'clock at night. So that's kind of been our, after 7 o'clock, if you don't see any trucks, go for it, but let's not have any close calls, or let's just stay out of their hair.
I was actually surprised at how soft the turf felt under your feet. And, you know, the only other, I'm just dating myself here, but we used to get to go to the dome and play, and that was extremely like concrete.
That was
I felt.
different, yeah.
Yeah, this is a whole different game here, so
That
So-
I can feel, I'm assuming made a lot of difference with the,
So I would venture that I've been on 10 artificial surfaces in northwest Wisconsin. By far the best field I've ever walked on, by far. No bias whatsoever, like,
no bias at all.
damn, it is super duper impressive.
Yeah.
When I walked out there, I was like, I can't believe how soft it is. Yeah. I'm excited.
We'll see you Friday.
And the good news is if the lights don't work, it doesn't get dark until really late, we'll be okay.
We could play.
Everybody just hold up your cell phones and pretend you're at a
We're
concert.
gonna have,
It'll be
we're gonna
fun.
have lights.
It'll be great.
So that was, I guess, I had a question on the field, and then
Mhm.
I've also been asked about the elementary school and intermediate school being ready with You know, a lot of stuff to move.
Well, here's the timeline. The 26th, which is next Monday, we will be moving Clubhouse from the intermediate school. They're occupying presently 5 classrooms. And then when they depart, then those classrooms are gathered up by intermediate school staff. So Clubhouse, remember, has their own new location, the J Wing, so to the east of the building. So they're going to move into that location. And then elementary staff will begin moving into their locations where they haven't already moved in. Because please know that these rooms are not sitting empty. There's a ton of stuff that's already been moved. And there are some that are still waiting, but we are going to absolutely have the ability to get everything in its place and be ready for school on the 3rd of September. There will not be an issue. It's going to be a wait and then a hurry up and get it done. But here's what I envision, and here's what I'm super excited about, watching the elementary school rally around each other and getting it done, because they will. And it'll be really awesome to see.
Our custodians are working really hard to get everything, because I don't know if all of you saw my cafeteria and my gym, but they're packed full of stuff. And they've been working really hard to not just get cabinets back into rooms, but they're emptying out those cafeteria pallets full of stuff, and they're actually
Awesome.
all getting put into classrooms as we speak now, so.
And the 6 new classrooms at the elementary, in my opinion, are the 6 best classrooms in the state. They're fantastic.
They're really
Furniture was
nice.
getting put together today, so.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I want to say thank you to the elementary teachers, because I know there's nothing that is probably making them more stressed out right now as an elementary school teacher, to be able to go in and prep their classrooms with all of their fun things and all to get a welcoming environment for those kids. And I'm sure they're like biting and chomping at the bits right now to do that. And I thank you all for your patience, because I know as an elementary school teacher, this has got to be the hardest part of waiting now. But
Correct.
like you hit it right on the
Short-term
head.
pain, long-term gain.
Yeah, and they will rally around each other
They
and
will.
help each other and
It's
get
gonna
it
be
all
awesome.
done.
All
And
hands on deck, and.
Yeah. It's
gonna be
make
awesome.
a list for the custodians so they can get to everybody on time, and
I know they're coming in
Yes.
with their crickets and their vinyl
you got it.
their bulletin
You got
boards.
it. So, yeah, and some of them have been in working, during the summer, so I've been able to give them, it's kind of a sneak peek of some of their places that they've been. So they put together a little bit more now than they've seen them, but, yeah, it's exciting.
I
But-
feel their anxiety level building.
And we're adjusting our in-service a lot. I've kind of been holding back, and I've been changing, nope, we need more time, so we're really gonna be mindful of that time that they need.
That's fantastic.
Are we doing anything to invite the public in? Is there gonna be an event to come see what we've got going,
Yep.
what we've done?
We haven't put anything out to the public yet because we want it to be done first.
Yes.
For the athletics complex, we're looking at Friday of homecoming, which would be the last Friday in September. And for open houses at the elementary and high school, we're simply waiting for it to be done. Then we're going to invite everyone in to see what happened. So yes is the answer to your question.
It's exciting. Super exciting. Anything else from Building and Grounds Committee?
No, it's exciting time. Other than, I said it last time, say it again, thank you, George Sigsworth and his team. Because they have saved the district hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's accurate.
So, a lot of work put on George's head and his crew, and I know that it has not gone unnoticed by me for sure, so, and I know that the staff probably feels the same way, so thank you.
They've been working hard,
Yeah.
for sure.
Me as well. I will say thank you to George, because he has been phenomenal in getting things disseminated out to the public that we had kind of put up for grabs, and the custodians did a great job of getting people what they wanted, and it was
Yep.
good repurposing use of our equipment and our things that we had to offer here. George gave me a tour when the turf was actually being installed down on the football field, even though I'm not part of the Building and Grounds Committee. He's just really open to telling people, and he should be super, super proud of the work that he's done, and really couldn't be commended enough for, this is a large project.
It's huge.
If you've driven by this campus any day this summer to see all of the work going on at all of the buildings and to see all of the parking lots full of equipment and supplies, that's a big project to manage.
Well,
in one guy.
And to walk
It's crazy.
around with the Building and Grounds, and it seems like George knows just about all the workers.
He does.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, I mean, he's out there, he hardly spends any time at his desk, is my assumption, because he's out meeting everybody, and And what I love about George is kind and fair, but also strict. Like, you can't do it this way, or we're not gonna do it this way, or just very impressed.
Yeah, firm and fair, right? Yeah, been very good. Yeah, if you're getting a hold of George, it's on his phone on his hip.
Yeah, don't call his regular phone.
Fantastic. Scoreboard sponsors.
Okay, you'll see up on the screen, we have 13 sponsors for our 9 scoreboards. There are 2 types of sponsors. The first is an anchor sponsor. You see those listed at the bottom of the screen. Josh Gould, Jeff Fern, Tracy Hendrickson, and myself sent out a mailing to 150 businesses. We got some folks immediately just simply chimed in and said, I'm in. We made some phone calls, and over the course of 3 weeks after July 4th, before August 1st, we were all locked in on 13 sponsors. So these are the 8 anchor sponsors at $5,000 a year for 5 years. Lenob Insurance Agency, Dental Arts SC, Amery Hospital and Clinic, Northwest Communications, Chet Johnson Drug, Don Johnson Auto Group, Dick's Fresh Market, and Quality Auto Body. Those are our anchor sponsors. We also have what's referred to as premier sponsors. The premier sponsors you'll see again listed on the bottom of the screen. Brember Bank, Nowitzki, Gust, Senf, Whitley, and Bergmanis, Noah Insurance Group, Williamson White Funeral Home and Cremation Services, and Slumberland Furniture. Those were sponsorships at $2,000 a year for 5 years. So we're getting all those folks locked in on the paperwork, and the difference in the difference in the sponsorship levels is A, the price, and second, where you're located. If you're an anchor sponsor, you're everywhere, and if you're a premier sponsor, you're not everywhere. So that's really the difference. So we're all locked in there, and it's thanks to Tracy, Jeff, Josh, and myself for getting her done, and we're smooth sailing on into the future on scoreboards. The sponsorships pay for the scoreboards and the installation of scoreboards, and any money after that is simply money to keep the scoreboards up to date and for other athletic items.
Thanks for putting
Wow,
that out
yeah.
there, and thanks to the sponsors.
Big thank you to all the sponsors for sure, so it's great.
It's a big project. Any questions on the scoreboards?
Not on scoreboards. I did have a question for John, though,
Yeah.
going back to this. We really quickly it was on the screen and then it disappeared. Was there anything to talk about on this?
No, other than what Joe asked.
Okay.
That was the only thing I was gonna point out
Perfect.
this evening.
Thank you.
And that was the budget on
Yep.
the referendum.
Yep.
All right, on to our action item, second reading of policy 367, the school therapy dog that we all just met, who is super cute.
There is a line at the bottom of the first page in blue, per your recommendation or your request. Proof of a negative fecal test must be submitted to the district every 3 months, and that's the only change to what you already saw in the month of July.
I'll make a motion to approve the school therapy dog.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the school therapy dog policy 367. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of approving the school therapy dog policy 367, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion's approved. The policy 367 is adopted. Next, moving on to donations and grants to the district.
Donations to the district in grants. Many thanks to the Polk County Sportsman's Club for donating $500 to the high school trap team. Thank you to Polk County Operation Roundup for the $250 grant for the Amery powerlifting team. Thank you to Dollar Tree and their customers for the generous donation of school supplies for our schools. And that is it for the month of August.
Wow, great
That looks
donation.
like a lot of school supplies.
Yeah, always a lot of school supplies. And I think there was some ask about how to access those school supplies. And were those donated, like, are they at the district? How is those accessed?
They were delivered to Amery Intermediate School, Christie, in our office did reach out to the other 4 building principals and asked about what did they need, what did their students use. So she did box up a box for each school and did send them. I would say a student within any of the 4 buildings, if they have concerns about school supplies, I would encourage their parent or guardian to call any one of our schools, speak to the secretary, and they would be happy to prepare a backpack for them.
Perfect, thank you. That's big, just how to access that and what
Absolutely.
stays here and all of those good things. So thank you very much for that. Is there a motion to approve the donations and grants?
I'll make a motion to accept the donations and grants.
Dale, is there a second? Gwen? Any discussion on the donations? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of accepting the donations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All of those opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passed. Donations are accepted and grants with many thanks to our community again with a nice round of applause for them. Thank you. And last but not least, we have personnel action.
Personnel action for the month of August. We have new employment and extracurricular contracts for Diane Amons as a music teacher, long-term substitute. Jacob Carlson, assistant hockey coach. Ryan Fulstad, custodian. Michael Holm, girls varsity soccer assistant coach. Darlene Kleinschmidt, certified occupational therapy assistant. Jordan Lumen, assistant middle school football coach. William Miller, bus driver. Carrie Nelson, school nutrition. Ethan Panic, assistant hockey coach. Angelina Reeve, clubhouse assistant teacher. Chloe Rogney, school nutrition. Riley Walls, middle school football coach. Amanda Williams, clubhouse lead teacher. Jacqueline Weiserman, first grade teacher. Resignations of Antonio Danielson from clubhouse. Mariah Millerman, first grade teacher. Mitchell Pratt, custodian. Dominic Williquit for custodian. And terminations in the area of clubhouse for Lisa Gunderson, Angelina Reeve, and Kaylin Roberts.
I'm suddenly starting to feel very old seeing that there are kids here that are my kids' age now coming back to coach, but thank you, and thank you for making me feel extremely old tonight. But thanks for coming back to your district and giving back, so it's really cool to see. That's pretty neat. Good stuff. Is there a motion to approve the personnel action?
I'll make that motion.
Steve?
I'll second it.
Joe, second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel action as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of passing the personnel action, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying no. Motion passed. Personnel action accepted. Community comments, I didn't see any on the way in. Nobody joined us, so no community comments. I don't think there was any reason to go into closed session tonight, was there?
Nope, make a motion, we adjourn.
Steve, is there a second?
Second.
Gwen? All of those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All of those opposed, signify by saying no. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks for your help on that.